Hi, everybody. Hi. My computer was frozen for a couple of minutes. I'm sorry I'm running a little late. Wow, how's everybody doing? Happy Sunday to you all. Happy Sunday. How is everyone on this glorious May Day? Yes. Isn't this supposed to be International Workers' Day or something? Day of the Labor? Is this Labor Day? No, it's not the Labor Day, but it's the I don't know. What is May Day? Can anyone remind us what May Day is? You see how we are? Hi, Chris. Shouldn't we have May Day rituals too? Wasn't there fertility rites? Those of you who are pagan, educate us about May Day. Chris Crowdis is in the house. Hi, Chris. Thanks for coming. Michelle Mybell, thank you for being here and thanks for helping, by the way. Appreciate that. Hi, Super Queen B. Great to see you here as well. Jody Rogers, hi. Good to see you and thank you. Oh, you're taking care of the grandkids. Lovely. Thank you for being a member, by the way. This is K Travel Tarot. Always good to see you here. Thank you for being a member. Joanna Carson, hello to you. Alawanza, hello. And happy Beltane. Oh, so it's Beltane. Okay, so we're learning here. Happy Sunday, Meg. Jay Cat Lady always does the beautiful artwork for us. Thank you so much. Roxanne Clement is in the house. Okay. Well, I think we can continue it's a spring festival. So it's a fertility time, right? And that's because the flowers come out, right? So the birds and the bees, the honey, blessed Beltane from Salem, Massachusetts, says Seska Marie. Very nice. Well, so thank you for letting us know. So what are some of the fun things we do on Beltane? We drink mead, right? I was learning how to make mead and then I lost interest. Should try it again. I even bought one of those wine makers and beer makers. But I just can't get into it lately. But my sister gave me old corks and old bottles so that I could make wine for the family. We have get-togethers and sing-alongs and things like that. I come from a pretty talented family. But no, I lost interest. But if you go to the wineries and their grape areas, it's pick your own. And then if I had a friend who had a car, we could go and buy massive amounts of grapes. This is what my mother and the family would do. We would buy large grapes, pick your own. That's the best deal. And then you would stomp them and you would have a wine party. And then you open the wine from the year before. And then you taste last year's wine. So that's how you do it. And then you stomp on the grapes. That was very funny. Oh, so everybody here, fermented honey drink. Supposedly it's actually really good for you. It's also associated with certain deities, I believe, certain deities to be in the spirits, right? So you get into an altered state because of the alcohol, and then you can connect with the spirits, right? Anyway, I thought I would be flowery today. Why not? Is that a spot? Noticed a spot there. So, thank you everybody for joining us. Did everybody have a good week? Things are getting pretty crazy out and about in the world. Oh, Beltane, there's a song like that comes to mind. Lovely. So we've got some remote views and some conversations to talk about today. Then, of course, we will do our community prayer, and we will, of course, any blitzes that you may have, I'm happy to do that for you. So we get to give you all a community reading. This is today's notes. lately I've been feeling when I show people my mind map and my notes from when I do a remote viewing, when I lift it up and I show it to you, I almost feel like this collective feeling like, oh, wow, we got to go through all of that. Like, oh no, what does she have for us now? But it's not that bad. All right, so a lot of this has to do with reviews. Is everybody ready for the remote views, or do we need to talk some more about announcements? Anybody have any announcements they want to make to the community? Uh, then we can go ahead and start remote views. I also wanted to give a shout out and thank you to people who sent me letters and gifts. Oh my goodness, I got so many fun things. Starting with a Haggadah that I'll be able to use next year. The Haggadah is the service that we use. That we have a service and a meal during Passover, during the festival of Passover. And Deborah Weiss developed her own. She has created a Haggadah, and it's actually very beautiful. And so it's nice. I often will either have my own Passover Seder, or I'll be invited to someone else's Seder. So it'll be nice. I'll be able to bring this with me, show it to people. So thank you very much, Deborah, for that. Also, someone was kind enough to send me pronoi, which is how the whole world is conspiring to shower you with blessings. Instead of paranoia, we have pronoi. This would be perfect for somebody like me, right? And this gift was from Sheila. Thank you, also known as Redwoods. I will be sending you a thank you. This looks like a lot of fun. And I'm going to really enjoy looking at it. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And also thank you for the letters that I received from Jet. I got 3 letters from Jet, and I'm just reading through them. And I'll be getting a letter back to her as well. Mila is sleeping underneath me in her kitty bed. And so that's what's going with Mila. So are we ready for, Michelle Bell says that she's ready for the remote views. People are ready for the remote views. Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about some of the energy. Now, one of the things we teach people how to do is you lock on an energy. Say I give you a target. We lock on a person, a place, or a thing, right? And then we want you to hold on to it and then allow yourself to become one with the ball, right? And then just see where the energy takes you. These are some of the fun energy games you can play when you do heart-centered remote viewing, right? So we don't tell you the future, right? I mean, this is something that Cash Peters and I agree with Cash Peters on this. We don't look at the future. We follow energy and we say, if the energy continues this way unabated, it will most likely result in this type of a response. But we do not tell you the future because the future is not set. And that's because we live in a multiverse. We live in a matrix which has multiple possible outcomes. As many as grains of sand, those are the possibilities for an outcome. Right. So we want to be very careful when we talk about reading the future, because that takes the power away from the individual. The person feels like they have no power, that things are just happening to them. Yes, it's true that inevitably you will have to go through certain lessons in life, but it's not inevitable how you deal with those lessons. That's the difference between modern Buddhism and feudalistic Hinduism and Buddhism, where you had no choice. It was fatalistic. The future was set and there's nothing you can do about it. We're in a modern context. Certain things, you go through birth and life and death and suffering, and people get married, they get divorced. It's just an inevitable part of life, but we talk about the future being determined by how we handle these events. So in that context, we think about some of the past remotes and the fact that people are always given a choice, right? Unless the crimes or the acts are so severe that the damage has already been done and there's no way to pull yourself out of it. But 2 years ago, we talked about a remote view. It says, when the Biden administration got into the White House, they basically told themselves, I got something in my eye there, or is it just too much makeup? They told themselves that they were going to give Homeland Security and America's security agencies like Homeland, et cetera, they were basically going to give them 18 months to get their act together, 18 months, 2 years. And that meant digging out and removing these problems. So we're now about, how far are we into his presidency? It was January 2021 he took office. So January, so that would be 13, January, February, March, April, May, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So we're talking about by next month, we're going to see major purging taking place, because we're talking about an 18-month period from the time that Biden takes office that they really plan on cleaning these agencies out. So expect a lot of that to come out in May of, so we're right there, May, June. One of the other things that's come up in the remote views has to do with the relationship between Fox and friends, Fox and Trump coordinating his campaign. And we talked about the fact that the NSA had been tapping people's phones out of Fox because they were working outside the scope of what you would call, that's not, at that point, you're not working as a reporter, you're working as a wing of the Republican Party and basically campaigning for that individual. So now it's starting to come out that, and we had talked about the fact that Fox was going to have to show up for congressional hearings and Senate hearings. Remember when we talked about that? So now we're at a point where Fox and Trump coordinated with Sean Hannity, Meadows, also stuff that's coming out with Tucker Carlson, and how they work to create a false narrative that basically incited the protest. And they've done a lot of things that have gotten them in trouble. They helped promote the riots. They coordinated with the president outside, so they basically worked for the president. And the other thing that they're getting in trouble with is creating false news stories that put the public at risk. So trivializing the importance of vaccination, for example, or how contagious the COVID was, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's kind of like the beginning of the end for Fox, in the sense that they now are accountable. So they're probably desperate to see the current administration gone, right? Who wants to be held accountable for all of that, what they did in that respect? Anyway, so it goes back to the previous remote. So we can start to expect more questioning of the media, particularly media that helped promote the false narratives. So that's starting to happen. The other thing that's come up in the news, people know that Naomi Judd has passed away. Anybody have any opinion about that? Or the second thing that's coming up, so we just talked about Fox News and how we're going to start seeing more accountability and how more stuff is coming out about this coordination. This goes back to what we had said, that Fox News will be held accountable. And this also goes back to why we had said that the that the FBI was all over Fox. This is why. And that the NSA was all over Fox. They basically they were investigating Congress because Congress had taken money. We know how bad it is because 435 members of Congress have been sanctioned by Putin and nothing's been said about it, which leads me to suspect that that's intentional. I want to know who those congressional people are and how they got money from AEB Bank with like zero interest. I mean, I want to know who those compromised people are. So I'm surprised more hasn't come out about it. But I just wanted to make a quick note about Naomi Judd. I know a lot of people love her music. So if I don't know, I think it might be a little too soon, but maybe in the future we can go ahead and do a throw on her. Next subject. So I just want to mention that. And then the next one has to do with Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? So MTG is now in a lot of trouble. They say she's really, excuse me, they say she's really afraid that it's the beginning of the end for her. And it goes back to the fact that at least 5 members of Congress would be outed relatively soon. I think we mentioned 5 major people that could be forced, excuse me, forced out of Congress because they're going to be linked to promoting or aiding the 1776. And now we're just getting closer to that happening as well. The fact, and it was great to also see Raskin calling out Marjorie Taylor Greene for referring to NATO as Nazis, which is insane. Makes no sense. Yeah, so we do see the karma happening. On the issue of Ukraine, did anyone see that Angelina Jolie was in Ukraine? Yeah, I guess she was there during an airstrike in Kyiv. So, yeah, thank God she's okay. I think they had to get to a bomb shelter or something. So now we'll talk a little bit about what's going on with Putin and his plans, but it's interesting. Angelina Jolie was there when they struck, and I think also some major diplomats from NATO were there. And also, I think recently the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, is now in Kyiv. So it's interesting that they would start to deal with that, that they would start attacking at that time. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the map now from in terms of what's going on with Putin. People know that, yeah, Angelina Jolie was there, and actually, they didn't look like they were too far from being shot at, based on how they were running. She's tall, man. Tall girl running. Yeah, it looked like bombing, but also possible sniper fire. So, but she's been in that situation 1,000 times. I mean, she was very active in freeing slaves in Sierra Leone. Oh, she was part of the whole bartering for slaves, we'll give you $1,000 if you free a captive. And there are people pointing machines at you, and you're like, hey, I got money, and just walk over and free some people. That whole thing out of Sierra Leone, that was her first assignment. Can you believe that? Yeah, evidently she got hysteric and called her mother. Why'd they send me to Sierra Leone? You wanted to see, because you said you wanted to see what the real world was like. This is the real world? Yeah, so she does some good work in the world. Okay, so I don't know why I have a thing here about 41 nations. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, you all know that the G20 is happening. Did you all know about the G20 happening? And you know that the G20 actually invited Putin to attend, right? So these are the economic powerhouses of the world, the 20 nations who are going to sit down and negotiate trade, World Trade Organization. So what it looks like is that Putin is going to try and argue and defend his position. He's going to be probably given no more than how long are those speeches? 13 minutes? So The situation feels like he goes to the G20. He has only a few minutes to speak, if he's going to be able to speak at all, and wheel and deal and try and get people to sympathize with him because people need his oil. So that's coming up. But in terms of what's going on with Putin, what's happening in Russia right now is that the situation is so bad economically, and that his 15% of his army has been wiped out. They're economically bankrupted. People are really starting to get desperate, and he's starting to see more and more his people becoming angrier and angrier and angrier. But he can't go to the West and say, "Yeah, my people are starving. I need a deal now." Instead, we can expect from Putin that he's like, "What? I'm doing what I need to do in order to preserve the balance of power." He's going to try and soften things because this energy feels to me like Putin is done, or in some way he's put himself in a situation that he can't get out of, and he knows it. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he is at the G20. But basically, what it feels like when you're in his shoes is that he appeals to the West regarding the sanctions because they are hurting the Russian citizens, which is ultimately hurting him back home. And also a lot of animosity from the oligarchs that he did this to them, and now they've lost their access to their finances. So he is in the doghouse. He's in the doghouse with the oligarchs. He's starting to be in the doghouse with the citizens. Things are starting to get really dicey back home. And so he's very close to negotiating peace, I think. I don't think continuing to be aggressive is where Putin's going to look. I could be wrong, but these cards feel like he's starting to feel the heat from everybody. And so I would be surprised if the G20 wasn't a turning point, I guess is what I'm saying. The other thing that's coming out, a lot of remote viewers, including some that watch the channel that remote view themselves, have started to report on this idea of a kleptocracy. This idea that the truth is it wasn't a great time under Putin. It didn't hail a great time for Russia. It hailed a time of theft, that anything and everything that wasn't bolted down was just taken. And so consequently, everything suffered in Russia. To some extent, there was theft that happened here in the United States, and we see similar problems with our infrastructure, but not nearly as horrific as it was in Russia. So areas that were completely gutted due to theft in Russia were, based on the remote, were healthcare, education, the infrastructure, roads, etc. The military in all areas were hollowed out, and money was divested to special interest, oligarchs, deals, etc. And the same thing is happening here in the U.S. Rather than doing what we need, the money is going to contracts for friends that either do something that helps the United States or it doesn't. But in the case of Russia, it's catastrophic. The theft is catastrophic. It's catastrophic to the point where the best thing that could happen for Russia is collapse, remove the people in power, and have some kind of people or system come in to clean up the corruption, because that's how bad. And basically corruption from within is ultimately what destroyed Russia. Not to say that they didn't struggle after the fall of the Soviet Union, but what's amazing, I think, for most remote viewers, and I think it's been demonstrated by the disaster of their military, is this is what happens when you have so little love for your country that you just steal blind, all the while claiming to be patriotic. And it's ultimately why they lost the war and why their country is falling apart. Last remote I would do was on China, and we're starting to see some collapsing of the infrastructure around China as well. And that has to do with the fact that they just extended their borders. They kept expecting the good times to roll in China. They kept expecting the money to keep flowing, that Americans would continue to buy Chinese products on Amazon, that they would have these massive exports and then use that money as the fuel for future infrastructure in Africa, all over the world, really. But unfortunately, we're starting to see the housing market take a dip. COVID, the crisis in Ukraine, it could be that we're going to see a huge economic dip in China as a result of that. I would look towards September to see economically everything is going to kind of settle by September, but we could see a retraction of the jobs market as well as China's economy begins to drop, problems with Europe causing economic challenges, etc., could have a global impact where we're starting to see people pulling back from hirings. So now, while the iron's hot, if you're looking for a job, because it may be a little bit more challenging this fall. Does that make sense to people? But that's how the energy looked when I followed it forward. Okay. Any questions? No matter what, vote blue. Well, I always do. Well, that's the question, Kimberly. Is he going to get arrested? There are people that are building a case for him to be arrested at The Hague, right? Or for him to go to The Hague. They want him to go the way of Milosevic, right? Yeah. But the biggest drama for me as a remote, I don't know if I'll call it drama, but the biggest, and I always want to hear from other remote viewers that use specifically are using HCRV, but to see what they feel. But my feeling is that I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an economic dip in China as much as a pullback of 20%, which is kind of surprising. So that's if other people who do remote viewing have done any remote viewing on China, I'd like to hear if you feel like the same as I do. I feel like they've just poured all this money into expanding, and now the money pot is, and so they're going to have to start abandoning this stuff. Also, the same thing happened to Rome. They extended their they went too far, right? That was the whole what collapses Rome is they couldn't fight so many battles. Same thing we're seeing with China. I'm not panicked about you know what I lost. I lost a third so far. I mean, but I haven't lost anything because I'm not taking it out. I'll probably never spend it anyway. My nephew is probably going to be the one spending it, so it'll just. I went into that whole terror, like, I got to save for my retirement. I got to save for my retirement. And then I thought, wait a minute, I don't think I am retiring, am I? So this isn't really work, right? Hanging out, having brunch with friends. Okay, so people, whenever you're ready, I think that's pretty much all the remote views I have. And did anyone have any questions about that? Anything I didn't get to on that? Can you believe how much they stole from Russia? Isn't that evil? All that stuff we took from Russia, all those yachts and everything, we should sell them and give the money back to the Russian people so that they can get their health care back. John, I think we're going to do the community prayer first. Not Blitz. We're not doing a Blitz now. We're doing the community prayer. Why is everyone saying Blitz, Blitz, Blitz away? We're not doing a Blitz. We got to do the community. So what's everybody drinking? My coffee. I left my coffee in the kitchen. Oh, well. I'm drinking water. Anybody having a brunch that's so delicious you have to tell us in detail what you're eating so that we can all go yummy, yummy. See, I had a yogurt peach smoothie. Does that sound interesting? Yogurt, oatmeal, peaches, flax, walnut. Leftovers. leftovers are okay. Thank you, Kay, for asking for the Impasse Prayer. Oh my goodness. All right, if you haven't had a chance to do so yet, be sure and share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Turn on your notifications. Oh, right. Ooh, bacon. Oh my God, I love bacon, but I can't have it. I feel bad for the animal. And sometimes in Europe, I'll break down and have bacon. Trader Joe's. Oh my God, I love Trader Joe's. Well, listen to what Alexandra's having. I'm going to eat at Alexandra's. She's having fresh asparagus, portobello mushrooms with sauteed shrimp, and a mimosa with strawberries. Oh, she must be watching us from a restaurant. A lot of people do that. They'll go out and have brunch, and then they'll watch us, and they'll sit in the restaurant, and then I think that's so cool that people do that. Okay, are you at a restaurant? So Lisa Graham, looks like she's also at a restaurant. Scrambles, 1 pancake, fresh fruit, sourdough toast, unsweetened iced tea. Where are you eating? That sounds great. Thank you, False Teeth. Yeah, HCRV class, we teach it. It's $9.99 a month. It's at the elders and empaths and healers level. If you decide to join, I really like our class. We get a nice group there, and we do rehearse every Tuesday. So a lot of people, even if you don't want to get certification, if you just want to rehearse the technique, it's interesting also. I have some students that have been studying for about a year and a half. They've already gotten certification. Some of them have already gotten teacher certification, but now they're just focused on the technique. They want to perfect the technique, hone their skills. And I think that's really great. So they'll come in once a week just to practice with a group. Oh, you're at the Texas Roadhouse? Oh, I love the Texas Roadhouse. Nice. Are you having a New York steak and eggs? That's what they're known for. Oh, you're going to take the class over? A lot of people do. It's okay. I've repeated a few times myself. Homemade cabbage stew. Oh, God, you guys are getting me hungry. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do the Impasse Prayer. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. Let's give ourselves a reading. I'm using the big cards and see if folks like them. Okay, where we are at right now, the message from Spirit for you this week is return back to the things you love. The only thing that's changed is your body is older, but you are still fundamentally who you have always been. So part of the purpose of life is that we be the best expression of ourselves, that we be free to have fun, that everything isn't serious, to let ourselves play. How many people here let themselves play regularly? Do you have some form of play you enjoy? So we have the Six of Cups coming as the base of the matter, and Six of Cups is about childhood. It's about being in one's childhood. It's about the joy of childhood. It's children playing. There's a bit of a whimsical character there. He's got his whimsical little hat. It's very childish and innocent. So this is about the ability to go back to the things of childhood. I don't think, when I think about who I am at 59, I'm 59. When I think about who I am at 59, I don't think I'm really all that different than the person I was at 11 or 12 or 13. I used to live here in Portland, and I still enjoy doing the same things I liked doing when I was younger. So I think that with the Six of Cups coming as the base of the matter, they're telling us that it's really important at this time in our lives to give ourselves permission to enjoy the things that bring us joy, particularly when we were younger, whether it's playing or sports or whatever it is you like doing. But you can see this great Six of Cups there as the base of the matter, which is to return back to what you love. And also it would be good for your health. It's good for our health to do the things that bring us joy. We have a nice karma card here. So now is the time to take care of your health. Go for a walk, enjoy the enjoy the sunshine, take yourself out to brunch. Then put your earpiece in so that you can tell us what you're eating. But this is this energy of the importance of youth and the importance of, oops, did that go? How did that go? Okay. And the importance of being joyful. That part of why we are alive is to enjoy our lives. All right. And then we have here too, the importance of social relationships, socializing, having fun, play, not to take things so seriously, not to be in a state of fear all the time. Everything is not a threat. Everything is not scary. Everybody is not out to get you. There's no need to be frightened. Most people are good. Most people don't want to hurt you. Most people just want to play. It's like looking at videos of Taka's shelter where he has like 500 dogs, right? You ever watch Taka's shelter? It's a dog rescue in Crete. The dogs are all scared and they're traumatized because one jerk did something, right? But then after a while, the dog realizes that all the other doggies are cool and want to play with him and that everybody's cool. And then the doggy heals and becomes happy, right? So the fundamental nature, we're like those doggies. You can have these bad experiences, but the truth of the matter is most people are really good. They don't want to hurt you. And most people just want to play and have fun. And what can we do to remember that? And to go back to that innocent of that everything is not serious. Sometimes it's important to have fun. Karma here over remembering joy, remembering to play, remembering that children play, and what can we do to go back to that? Two of Cups stands in the fourth house. So again, this is something that's been coming up for a lot of people. Soulmates, soul connections, deep relationships come to a lot of us. With the Two of Cups, which is in the heavens, which has to do with the type of social or sacred contract that you want to have with other people in terms of how you want to be treated, how you want to treat them. If we can learn anything from, people are really emotional about the Johnny Depp, Amber Heard trial, right? And I think the reason why it's so intense is because it speaks to this idea of sacred contracts, that when we are intimate with another person, what can we do to not emotionally hurt them and make sure that we're not emotionally hurt? How people treat one another on a day-to-day basis, or relationships that can be mutually abusive. This person's abusive, but maybe this person's abusive too. Like Ozzy, right? Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon, right? I give as good as I get, Ozzy, poof, right? So that's not really, that's not what we think of when we think about a sacred contract, right? We think about Two of Cups is a relationship of mutual respect. I see the God in you. I see the divinity in you. And if you truly see the divinity in another person, that's what we aspire to. First, in our most intimate relationships, we aspire to that, where we respect and see the divinity in the other. But then it moves out into the perimeter of others that we meet throughout our life, the stranger on the road or the person that's sleeping on the street. Two of Cups is a very powerful card because it isn't just about romance. It's about how we tentatively approach others from a place of respect. The healing symbol is there as well. Have fun with the attaining mastery in your skills. Whatever it is you do for a living, do it to the best of your ability and enjoy the process. And always think in terms of how your work can contribute to the greater good in the world. The mastery card sits in your heart, a desire to leave a legacy or something positive after you've gone. The heartbreaks of the past. So how we deal with the heartbreaks of the past take us into our future. So if we're looking at action, reaction, we have had much heartbreak in the past, and it takes us to a place of, what can you do when bad things happen to you? Keep on keeping on, chop wood, carry water, being about your own business. You reap what you sow. So be mindful always of the sacred contract, how you are being treated and how you are treating others. Where you're at right now, establishing a happy family. So the happy family is everyone is given the love, support that they need. Others in relationship to you, confused. You could have false knights, people that think that their purpose in life is to charm other people, right? To be charmers, to be seducers. But, Knight of Cups has an aspect to it of being seductive, false promises, telling people what they want to hear, the hopes and so true love, looking for true love versus somebody who's just a player. The hope and the fear, and that can also be in terms of the community you build. The hopes and fears for us, the world. We fear for the wellness of the world, and the final outcome for us, be firm in your convictions. Be firm in your convictions. You can be strong without being cruel. Don't be afraid to defend your values and your territories. Hold people accountable. Find out what battles you're willing to die for. What hill are you willing to die for? If you're not willing to die for it, let it go. You don't have to have an opinion and take on a battle everywhere. Save your energy. Some things are willing to fight for, like human rights. Other things, not so much. So it's basically saying now is the time to examine the contracts, the spiritual relationships you have with people based on the values that you hold true. And also it extends to your relationship with your work, how much do you value your work? Do you value your work and your skills and your talents enough to give them the time they need in order to become mastered? Because that in and of itself is an act of respect. If you respect yourself as a musician, you're going to give yourself the time needed and your music the time to develop the way that it needs to. If you respect yourself as an artist, you're going to say, if you don't respect yourself as an artist, you're not going to give yourself time as an artist. And by ignoring your work, you're saying, I don't respect myself as an artist. That's basically the message here. Not giving yourself time to be whatever it is you are here to be. Part of healing the issues of respect in relationships have to do with your respect of yourself and your commitment to your own development, starting with what brought you joy as a child. And that's really the takeaway of today's reading. Was that too confusing? Did it help? I don't know. I got it. I get what they're saying. Anyway, that did people not confusing? Did people enjoy the community reading? That's the community reading. All right. So now I can get the order. I can be given the order and we can blitz, blitz, blitz away. Ooh, goody, goody, goody. Lots of people. So what are we looking at today? Thank you, everybody. Okay, I'm going to go look for red question marks. They're all over the place. I just got to find them. Okay, can Putin be arrested at the G20 for war crimes? This question is coming in from Kimberly. Hi, Kimberly. Let's take a look. Can Putin be arrested? Wouldn't that be crazy? Do you think he would go if he thought he was going to be arrested? I don't know. What's going to happen when Putin goes to the G20? Is it possible that he could be arrested? I can't believe they invited him. I'm surprised they didn't kick him out. Well, he's definitely going, and they expect, here's what the G20, they want to see certain things from him. There's something about an ongoing investigation. I'm assuming that has to do with war crimes because you have the sun coming up over him, which would be, I'm assuming, evidence, like the truth coming out and then carrying a load. So I'm assuming they have a ton of evidence against him. You can't just invade a peaceful country and murder a bunch of people. Also, you can see here examination, the camera card, frugality. So, and then the chariot, things move. What a bizarre situation to be in. It looks like he is trying to negotiate a justification. He feels that he can avoid a jail or anything like that because he's assuming that he has tremendous amount of power due to his resources. You can see here it's because of his partnerships. Smoother waters, the captives released. Though a lot of what's happening at G20 is people want the Ukrainians who are being held against their will, they want them released. There's something here about negotiating the release of the captives. This is a captives card. And then a decision over frugality. So the king has to make a decision because of a lack of money. So he took the hostages in order to negotiate. He's willing to wait a long time in order not to hand over hostages of the war. It's very terrifying. How many people were taken? How many Ukrainians are hostages right now? They're negotiation chips. That's what came up. That's a hostage card. So Putin feels that he has oil, he has contracts, and he has hostages, a power, and possibly even Western hostages, and that's his power. Isn't that crazy? I don't know. What are they going to do about it, though? I think that Putin's going to be removed and they're going to put another strong man in who can normalize relations with the West. And I think that this is something that Russia is going to agree to. I think that Russia is going to remove him and he's going to be replaced. There's evidently he's undergoing some kind of a surgery and he's handing temporary power over to somebody who was a bigwig at the KGB, now FSB. I don't know anything about that, but I see Putin being removed, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that the West can't work with him, and it's a desire to normalize Western relations. The other thing that comes up with Putin a lot is the fact that the oligarchs and everybody is mad at him because of the economic crisis that Russia is currently facing. And so that puts him in a desperate situation. But I see him being removed. Some other guy's coming in, possibly with the military or with military training. This is the new guy. Also, the truth coming up over Putin, and then heartbreak for Putin. And then the work is given to some other man. So there you go. Putin's going to be removed. Well, if he had, see, that doesn't make sense. If he had pull-ups, they would have been removed. If he had a colonoscopy and they removed pull-ups, I don't know. So it would be strange. I don't know what kind of surgery that would be, unless they found something that had metastasized or something like that. All right. So Jay has a question, wants to know about the January 6th hearings and what's going to happen with the MAGA folk. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know about if this guy's going to be worse. I mean, no, they feel like the West has made their lives hell. That's what it looks like. They feel that the West has made their lives hell. And Putin is not helping the situation. All right, let's look at the January 6th commission. The January 6th protesters are in complete disarray. They are fighting amongst themselves. The people that were heading it are kind of like the Roger Stone people. They look to be mentally unstable, might be drug or alcohol abuse, personality disorders, and there's infighting happening with the Proud Boys and some of these groups. The crazy nutters, the people with the money, the eccentric people like Roger Stone that created this whole thing live in a fantasy world. They live in a world of alternate facts. And then when reality smacks them in the head, they'll be in denial even as they're being drug off to prison, because the people that coordinated this whole thing are completely out of touch with reality. They have personality disorders. There's definitely money money and work and pay. Something that came out in the past about this coup had to do with just how much access they had to Republican Party resources. So you can imagine in some of these extremist communities that if there was a Republican Party, that these people would have had access to everything. They would have taken over everything, the laptops, the computers, and any resources that the Republican Party had, they helped themselves to it. And that in and of itself is a federal investigation. But you can see jobs, money, evidence, grief from the January 6th protesters. But the thing that really comes up when you go into this energy has to do with the infighting, the betrayal, the infighting, that they literally cannibalized themselves. It's a tremendous amount of evidence. But then we are going to enter into kind of like a peaceful meadows period. It's like this craziness kind of implodes. The time of Putin comes to an end. There's this desperate attempt to normalize relations with Russia and the United States. But right now, I would say that the Justice Department is probably going to start serious charges right about now, May and June. You can see here again the captives. captives card comes, smoother waters. But what's interesting about these cards following the energy has to do with the Proud Boys, the grief, and about former relationships that kept them trapped. And the other thing that's interesting is that the people fighting, the infighting amongst the insurrectionists, you have the Queen of Swords who carries the sword of justice. So I think reality is starting to emerge from the crazy. That's kind of how I would interpret it. It's the crazy is being controlled finally. But just absolute insanity. Very scary because you only have one party that's not crazy. Hi, Carrie Dye. Thank you for that donation. Much appreciated. So, Karen, this is a good question. A lot of people have been asking about Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's really dreadful. She, yeah. So let's look at the future, what her future is going to be. I don't know. Definitely a lady with some issues. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, will they charge her? That's a really good question. Who likes her? Do you think that she would even be reelected at this point? Completely in the clouds, confused. She is confused. This is somebody who comes across as actually kind of mentally confused a little bit. In the clouds, she's confused. What's her future? It's over. I think Marjorie Taylor's future in Congress is over because you can see the wheel of karma. But you know what's interesting about her? She gets a job offer in the private sector. It's like her future in Congress is over, but they've got a job for her in the private sector. So she finds some way to earn a living. She finds some other group that likes her. You can see the job offer comes in here, and yay, sunny days. I don't have to be in Congress anymore. So it's very likely that she leaves Congress and takes a position. Yeah, she's out of there. She's not going to stay in Congress. She is going to be offered a job doing something else, and I'm sure she'll be very, very happy there. I don't see jail for her. I don't know if what she did rises. I don't know if they can get her. Right now, it doesn't look like jail. It looks like she leaves Congress and takes a position somewhere else. But the truth will come out. Star over the sun. Okay. We'll see how this goes along. I mean, if they're able to, she's not going to be able to stay, but I don't know if they're going to get able, with those cards, if she's able to get a conviction. All right, so we have a question about Romania. Romania. All right. So Romania is a very poor country, right? What do you folks think? Do you think that Putin would attack Romania? I feel when I go into this energy like things are getting really dicey in Russia, and it would probably be better for him to maybe retire. Catalin, I'm sorry, we don't do private readings on Sunday. I'm sorry, but thank you for the donation. Okay, the future of Romania. The future of Romania. Doesn't Romania want to be part of the EU or want to be part of NATO? That's what it looks like. They want to be part of NATO. They want to be, they get their wish. They get their wish. That's the future of whatever they want. Did they want EU? Did they want to get into EU? And did they want to get into NATO, etc.? They are in NATO, then they want to get into the EU because it's going to get better for them. You can see here the chariot. Things are moving for them. They get their wish, power. Things are transformed in Romania, and they get their wish. And so they had 3 out of 4 major arcana for Armenia, for Romania. So they're doing very well. Look at that. And then here's another one. Romania is doing extremely well. Look at that. Look at these major arcanas. Moving quickly, star, blessing. The chariot, another major arcana for them. They're coming into a time of power and new beginnings for Romania. Look at that. Romania is doing great. Don't tax their witches, right? They don't tax their witches. Oh, yeah. Intellectual power. The intellectuals are coming in. There are resources and things in Romania that could create a better situation for the economy of Romania in the future. Yeah, and great future partnerships. Has to do with the resources of Romania. Isn't that interesting? Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you for that donation. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you. Michelle Knight's here. Haven't seen you in a while. Oh, the hurricanes. Yeah, let's take a look at those. I always get nervous during hurricane season. Let us take a look at the hurricanes. Romania is part of the EU. Their cards are excellent and their partnerships are excellent, which leads me to think that there are resources and economic opportunities in the future for Romania that's really going to help them financially. Huh. Okay, let's see. Hurricanes. Yeah, I always get nervous with these kinds of cards because they always come up terrible. Well, there's a multitude of bad weather events all over the United States coming up, unfortunately, all over Europe. Some interesting stuff coming in northwestern Europe. There might be some crappy weather, so I'm assuming that would be like Britain might be having some crappy windy weather coming in. From what it looks like, yeah. Still looks like potential flooding this fall again in Germany and the Netherlands, unfortunately. I'm seeing more flooding in that area. There's also people angry in the EU about improper use of funds to help with infrastructure in Europe for global warming. So there's going to be some public hearings and discussions about that. There's this feeling I have regarding Europe is anger and frustration that certain people are being. The EU wants to get more cooperation for building their infrastructure against flooding. There's a little bit of a desperation there. That's probably going to come up during G20 a little bit. But what I like about this energy is that we have intellectuals and people that don't waste their time with nonsense. And it looks like under Biden's plan, there's a lot of mobilization. You can see here like swirling events, multiple events. But I like this fact of being about the business and then victory after tears. I feel also that there's kind of like this intellectual energy coming in under the Biden administration that's really going to improve things. I think things could be difficult again this year for Europe, unfortunately. All right, Russian TV. Kathy PR has a question here. Let's see. I saw an article that Russian soldiers who don't want to fight in the rain. Interesting, John. I don't know. It could be because of the mud and stuff, and it's really pretty muddy, probably. Russian TV said it would take 202 seconds for a bomb to hit the UK. Is Putin planning on doing this? Thank you. Well, considering the fact that their military is a walking disaster due to theft, who knows? Let's take a look at the risk of Russia bombing the West, using nuclear weapons. I hope that doesn't happen. I don't see nuclear war. I think it's posturing, but we always want to hope that doesn't happen. But you have King of Pentacles negotiations, strong, and there's something about economic opportunities, and there's a possibility that there could be a meeting. So if you're looking at energy between Russia and Britain, it almost looks like there could be a meeting between Putin and Britain. But no, I don't. I see this is like an armistice card, like the end of the war. So I think that they'll be able to work it out. Well, I think we're going to be finishing up pretty soon here. It's already 12:17. Please reach out to me if you need to get a reading. You can check out my information by going to tarotwithwhimsy.com. Also, if you go below this video in the description box, you'll have some links to Booksy, and that'll take you to my Booksy page if you want to schedule an appointment for a reading. And if you just need a 5-minute quick video done, like a quick question, I think they run $20. It takes about a few days to get your answer back. You can send me a question via Wizio. The Wizio link is below this channel. In the description below, you just go to the Wizio, ask me the question, and then pay and send, and then I send you a video in about a week. All right, I think I'll do one more question. Let's see here. Joanna Carson. This morning, CBS Today News said that California's drought is so severe that they only have 50% of the water they need for the coming year. Wow, that's really scary. Let's go in and take a look. The California drought, very scary. Did everybody have fun? Everybody have a good brunch? Did y'all have good lunches, brunches, snacks? All right, California's drought. Oh, they're looking for water. They're going to have to work out some deal in order to get water. They're looking for water. They're going to have to find a new solution. You can see the Seven of Cups is coming in, confusion, and then you have a Lovers. So somebody, some community or somewhere, they're going to be able to get the water, because Lovers is about, yeah, there's a victory here. Also heavy rain, expect heavy rains in next year in California. It looks like they're going to have very, very heavy rains that are going to correct a lot of the problem in about 6 months. Problem starts to get better in 6 months. Chariot, they're going to work it out. They're going to get someone to somehow send them the water. Like they'll find some way of deviating it from some other place. But you can see the victory card here. We will find a way. We always do. Human beings are unbelievably resourceful, and we always find a solution to all of the problems. You know, if we come together and with the right intent, and we work together with the right intent, we usually find a way to make things work, and we will. So there you go. Well, my lovelies, it was fun, wasn't it? We hung out. We ate, hopefully we ate good food, nutritious, tasty food. Now you guys get to go for a walk, right? Go for a walk, maybe. That's what I'm going to do. Get some exercise in. I alternate, right? I alternate between should I go for a walk and being at peace with this new Zoftic version of me, right? Because I've gained so much weight. So I go through this period of like, I really should go for a walk. And then there's another part of me that thinks, you know, I look pretty good at this weight, you know. So I have a fuller figure. Is that so wrong? I don't know. Stay in and become robust, Rubenesque. Or go for a walk and become more like Angelina Jolie. Yeah. She's too thin. I like food too much. I could never have that. I would never sacrifice a cheeseburger for that figure. That's why I will never have that figure again. I used to be thin when I was younger. Svelte. All right, love and light. Thank you so much for your support, everyone. Again, if you're trying to get in for a reading, please reach out to me on tarotwithwhimsy.com, and I would love to help. Or Wizio if you just need a fast reading. Be well, all you beautiful, lovely, sexy, fantastic, awesome people. I will see you Tuesday if you're coming to class. We're going to have fun. We're going to be talking about the importance of abiding in spirit. Yes, and we'll be finishing up on the anatomy of the human energy body. We'll be finishing. So that's what's planned for Tuesday. Oh, Angelina Jolie drinks and smokes cigarettes. Oh dear, oh me, oh my. Well, happy Beltane, everyone. Go find someone to make love with. I suppose that, right? Isn't that how they used to? I don't know. I'm not a pagan, but supposedly people would make love and celebrate. If only it were that simple today, right? All right. Thank you, everyone. It was a blast. Be sure and support the other readers.